Hey guys, it's my first day on the open water today. We're heading out for big northern pike. When they're in the bays still, after the ice is out, they hang around the bays and there's a lot of huge fish in the same spot. We know there are big fish here. It should be a great day. We're gonna show you how we do it, how we catch these fish, and I'm excited. First day on the open water always feels good. All right, what we're doing is pretty simple. We're just going bay to bay. So we're gonna fish one bay and then fish the next bay and fish the next bay. We're fishing pretty fast. We're looking for smaller weedy bays, ideally with an inflow. We know this lake really well, but if you don't know the body of water you're fishing on, look on a map, see if it has inflows, see if it looks like it has weeds, and we're fishing fast. And we're also fishing pretty big baits. So the pike spawn underneath the ice. Just as the ice is starting to melt, they're spawning. So these are post-spawn northern pike. But what's really cool is that they're predatory fish, obviously, and walleye and suckers actually spawn in very similar areas. So what they'll do is after they spawn in the bay, they'll stick around for a few weeks, maybe even a month, until they pull out into deeper water. But in that month after ice out, they'll be in there hunting, eating the suckers, and you can capitalize on that because this is the one time of the year, other than through the ice obviously, that the pike are very condensed. There's a lot of fish in certain areas, and it's 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, the weedy bays, and even better if they have an inflow. So that's what we're looking for. We're gonna hit those bays, fish fast, fish big baits. I'll go over the baits that I'm using today. There's some great options, and yeah, we're just gonna see if we can catch some pike. Nice. Decided to downsize. We were throwing the super shads today, throwing some of the other glide baits. I'll go over some of my favorite baits for spring pike, but we downsized to a Husky jerk, and that's a nice one. That's a big gator. I love these spring pike. They hang around the bays where you caught them in the fall or in the early spring, winter, through the ice, and they'll hang around here for a little while till the walleye spawn, till the suckers spawn. They're in the back bays, and you can get them. It's a pretty sweet fish. Nice. Wow, you chomped that. Just switched to the crankbait. They're starting to pick up. They were pretty slow this morning. And then we found some fish. They were following like muskies. It was pretty cool actually. I was figure eighting them, but we switched to the crankbaits. And I'll let this one go. They were hard to convince to get to eat the bigger baits this morning, but now that the fishing's starting to pick up, they're starting to turn on. They're starting to hit bigger baits, so we're gonna let this one go, let her recharge. The water's cold, so should be good. You gonna go? Yep. That was awesome. It just took her a sec to wake up.
There's one.
Black spot is insane on this one.
Big bass.
So this is the bycatch of fishing for pike this time of the year. If the lake has smallmouth in it, they're starting to move up. This is pre-spawn, so it's legal to catch them this time of the year where we are. It's okay, but there's the bycatch, and the Super Shad Rap is a 5.5-inch crankbait. Big smallies aren't afraid to hit that either. It's probably 2-pounder, not a giant, but you get some big ones doing this. That's cool. He ate right beside the boat. So right now I'm using the X-Rap Haku. This is pretty cool because this is a Finnish glide bait. You can get them in Canada, the US, but it was designed in Finland for their pike. And actually, these European style glide baits are pretty genius. We're fishing this, I mean the water's cold still, so we're fishing it fairly slowly. This is on the more aggressive side of the spectrum when it comes to my early season pike baits. As you can see, bright colors, love them. But this is a common thing that you see in European pike fishing. A lot of harnesses, they'll put on soft plastic baits. So you'll have a jig head with a wire running the 2 trebles that are then stacked along the bait. But this is sweet because this is a hard bait, but it's actually got this little clip here that pops out when you catch a fish. So now the beauty of this is that it's intact. The hooks are all like tight to the bait. You get a great hook set, and then when you're actually fighting the fish, the bait comes loose, and now you have 2 trebles in the fish's mouth like a quick strike rig. And the bait, now the fish doesn't have any leverage with the bait, and it really does work well to hooking fish and keeping them pinned. And like I said, we're fishing this fairly slowly. I mean, they're still aggressive, they're feeding, but we're not fishing them super fast. The key is to get this to walk side to side. I want a nice wide glide side to side. Same as you'd fish a glide bait for muskies, we're fishing them for pike. This is slow sinking, so if I want to pause it and let it hang, you can do that without it just plummeting to the bottom. And then if I want to dial back on the aggressiveness, go to a little bit more subtle presentation but keep the size, I'm going to fish a Super Shad Rap. The other beauty of that is that it can get down a little deeper, so I can fish a little deeper. It's a big triggering factor if you use your crankbait like your Super Shad and bring it into a weed and then pop it loose of the weed. So there's a lot of different techniques: glide baits, crankbaits, swim baits. I'm going to go over all the baits, but we're fishing slow. We're trying to get maximum action out of our lures, and the pike are digging it, so it's been a fun day. I like to use my reel handle. This has been in a technique that people have figured out in musky fishing, but actually if you use a fast enough reel, you don't have to move the rod much. You can actually just flip the handle and get it to walk. It's perfect. So I do a lot of my pike and musky fishing working the baits with the reel handle.
Little guy. Oh, perfect. I was kind of hoping not to land him, but that's funny because That means I've caught a pike on every one of the baits I'm going to show you guys.
All right, guys, as promised, I'm gonna go over a few of my favorite baits. You can probably tell that there's a trend towards bright colors. I really like bright colors for pike any time of the year, but in the spring you grab their attention with them. So these are 4 different baits here that are all similar profiles, and they do different things. So this is the Super Shad Rap. I mean, timeless classic. This catches probably my most muskies throughout the year, and probably my most pike too. This, you guys already know the deal. The new Haku, reasonably new, with the harness on the inside. That's a sweet bait. It's a little bit more aggressive, has sharp cuts side to side. It's a glide bait, crankbait, jerk bait. This is the Super Shadow Rap. So you know the Shadow Rap that we all know and love. This is the super version. It's just the big version of the Shadow Rap. Lets you hang, dead pauses, twitches. Works really well if you want to fish a little bit slower and keep that big profile. These 2 baits you need to keep moving. You need to keep the Super Shad Rap moving in order for it to work. You kind of need to keep the Haku moving in order for it to work. And then lastly, this is the Twitchin Rap. And this is a cool bait because it's basically the exact same body as the Super Shad Rap, but it can be fished. It's the smallest out of these, but arguably the most aggressive. You can pop it, work it like crazy. It goes in all different directions, side, side, up, down, twitches, cuts right, cuts left. This can be fished really, really aggressively. This is my main 4. And then of course, I always bring around Husky jerks. That's my downsized baits. Again, another timeless classic. Smaller profile than the other ones. So this morning, they were in a neutral mood, kind of negative. They didn't really want to bite, and so we caught all our fish up until about 2 this morning on the Husky jerk. And then the fish started to pick up, the Husky jerk slowed down a little bit, and then our more aggressive baits just started to dominate. We got some giants at the end of the day, and it was a sweet day. So I hope you should try it out. I mean, you should try out spring pike fishing. This time of the year, the pike are all in the same spot that you left them when you were dead baiting and laid ice, and they're tight together, and you can get some giants. So try it out. Pretty wicked fishing. It's always fun.